Good morning, everyone. My name's Jenny Aitchison. I'm the member for Maitland. I'm also the Minister for Roads and Regional Transport in New South Wales. I'm here with Andrew Cribb, the Zone Commander for Northern Region SES, and Steve Bernasconi, who is the Hazard Preparedness Manager for the Bureau of Meteorology. I want to just give first up a big thank you to the 1,600 volunteers with SES, the other emergency service workers, including the ADF as well, the Australian Defence Force, who are helping people all over the northern region in dealing with the impacts of this severe weather event. Just to give a call out to Maitland, because we are here in Maitland today, Maitland unit of the SES, I went and visited them this morning. They have about 20 new recruits. It's great to see new people coming on board to help with these emergencies, and it's great to see the camaraderie of all the services, paramedics, RFS, fire and rescue, and marine rescue, as well as police and the local councils. This is a massive event. I will throw to Steve in a minute in terms of giving us a report on the weather and the issues that we're facing with that. And then I will throw to Andrew to give some information around the SES response. But as the Minister for Roads, I just want to give that really important reminder to everyone. Please do not go into floodwaters with your car. Do not drive into floodwaters. If you're stuck in floodwaters, just stay there. We have had too many rescues that we've had to do of people in their cars. There are fines for people who drive through floodwaters if that is found to be negligent, which it is. You know that if you go through 30 centimetres of water, the power of that can move your car off the roadway. And also you don't know what damage is underneath your car in that road. And so the road may have completely disintegrated beneath where you think you're going to drive over a small amount of water. So we cannot emphasise this enough. We have got a lot of disruptions to roads and transport. Your one source of truth for road disruptions is live traffic. You can go on the app, or you can go into any of the navigation apps. They take that information, and councils are endeavouring to update that information as quickly and as frequently as possible. And then in terms of public transport, you can go on the transport info apps to find out if public transport is still available. In the Hunter, we've had quite a number of challenges with Sandgate as normal with the flooding there. So trains are not running, and some of our Country Link or Train Link services are not running at the moment because of closures on the Pacific Highway. My heart goes out to everyone who has been displaced. Please, if you get that knock on the door from SES or police or other emergency service workers telling you that you need to evacuate, please follow directions. We just want people to be safe. It is not comfortable going to emergency evacuation centres, but it will save your life, and that is the reason you're getting that direction. If you are isolated on your property, the SES is doing some limited food drops and other support for people, and Andrew will talk more specifically to those areas for you. If you need assistance from the SES, the number is 132 500. In a life-threatening emergency, please call 000. In terms of Maitland, we know that there are some communities that are already impacted and isolated. I've heard of some people at Millers Forest, also Hinton and Woodville, and Glenbourne Dam. So Hinton, Woodville, Glenbourne Dam, and also Millers Forest. We know that there are other areas that are often underwater. So please just be careful, look to advice, follow the SES pages. They will give you the information you need. I'm going to pass over to Steve Bernasconi now to give you more information on the weather updates. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister Aitchison and Commander Cribb. Ladies and gentlemen, record-breaking floods are occurring in the Manning River today, particularly at Taree and Mount George. Multiple rivers across the region are under major flood warnings, with many others under moderate and minor warnings. A severe weather warning has been updated today and includes areas as far north as Evans Head, Foster in the south, and into the west out towards Walker. Current situation is a coastal trough that has persisted since Sunday continues to impact the Coffs Harbour coast today. As of 5 minutes ago, moderate rain was falling around the Yamba and the Coffs coast area. The trough is expected to deepen into a low pressure system somewhere around the mid to central parts of New South Wales coast, Thursday or Friday. The system is then forecast to move reasonably quickly in a southward direction and weaken over the weekend. Rainfall is expected to ease along the mid-north coast from Friday. I want to touch base on some of the observations from a rainfall perspective and flood perspective now, with a focus on Taree. Taree has exceeded its 1929 flood record of 5.9 metres. It reached 6.37 metres at about 9 o'clock today. The reason for that is that total rainfall for Taree as of 9 a.m. today has also been at record levels. The two-day totals to 9 o'clock this morning of about 412 millimetres at Taree is a new annual record. To give context to what that level of rain means is that 412 millimetres is essentially, in 2 days, is essentially 5 times the monthly rainfall for May for Taree. In essence, Taree has received 1/3 of its average annual rainfall in 2 days. In the same region, around Wingham, Wingham has received 278 millimetres of rain in a day. It's a monthly daily record for May. It's likely to break its 2-day record as well once more data comes in from this morning. And for areas nearby at Kempsey, 120 millimetres in a day is a new May record for the town of Kempsey. They've had a 2-day total of 180 millimetres. So this is significant rainfall falling over already saturated catchments, which is leading to and led to floods of record, particularly for Taree today. I want to touch base on the major flood warnings and flood impacts only. There are other moderate and minor flood warnings, and the details of those are available on the Bureau's website and also on the Bomb Weather app. But for the major flood warnings, the situation is as follows. And I'll preface this with, based on the trough becoming a low pressure system and moving southward, all of these are possible for renewed rises and further rises. But at this moment, this is the situation. For the Manning and the Gloucester rivers, for Taree, as mentioned, it's a record flood. It reached about 6.32 metres, surpassing the 2029 record of 6 metres, and also the 2021 flood event. In Wingham, the river is at major and it is steady at 14.69 metres. Now, for those near Mount George, we have actually had that flood gauge go offline yesterday. There has been an outage of the telecommunications in that area, but we've looked at the downstream data, and with some modelling, we're actually suggesting that it's very likely that that site will also be above the 2029 record flood. That said, that will need to be verified and confirmed after the event when the actual data comes in. And at Gloucester, at major river flooding, we have a steady river at 5.24 metres. Moving to the Hastings River, at Kindy Bridge, the river is rising at major and it is currently 9.7 metres. At Warhope Railway Bridge, it's also rising at 6.5 metres. And whilst the flooding is considered to be in the minor classification at Settlement Point at 1.27 metres, it is rising with the high tide, and we're aware that the community there and the SES there have a decision point at about 1.7 metres, and it may be reaching that at high tide today, so that is a watch point. In the Hunter River, the Wallumbye Brook at Bulga has a flood warning for potential major flooding. It's currently rising. It's expected to exceed moderate flooding sometime today, and it may reach major flood level of 4.6 overnight tonight. For the Lower Hunter, moderate flooding is possible. Renewed rises are expected from Thursday due to upstream flows and that forecast rainfall. And for the Patterson and Williams rivers, renewed rises are possible. For Dungog at the Williams River, it's reached 8.63 yesterday. It's now falling to moderate levels, but again, the caveat is with increased rain potentially tomorrow and Friday, renewed river rises are possible. At Mill Dam Falls, it reached about 10.15 metres yesterday. That's above the 2021 event, but below the 2015 record flood. And the Patterson River at Gostwick peaked at about 14 metres. It's above the 2021 event, but renewed rises are possible for that. The weather forecast for today is that persistent, moderate to heavy rainfalls in the 80 to 150 millimetres for 24 hours are still possible. Isolated falls of over 200 millimetres are possible. Consider that with 3 days of similar rain, and we still have a situation that needs to be carefully monitored. There is a risk of heavy to locally intense falls with some severe thunderstorms on the coast. Fresh and gusty winds are still persisting on the coastal fringe. For Thursday, widespread rainfall in the same realm, with isolated falls of 140 millimetres possible. The takeaway message is really that record-breaking floods have occurred along the Manning River. Taree and Mount George are the particular focus. Multiple major floodings are occurring in parts of the mid-north coast and the Hunter, and moderate and minor flooding elsewhere. This severe weather warning is in effect and is in place for Evans Head in the north, Foster in the south, and Walker inland. I'll now hand over to Commander Cribb to give the SES response.
Thank you. Andrew Cribb, Chief Superintendent and Zone Commander of New South Wales SES Northern Zone. As our previous speakers have said, we have 90 warnings current across the state. Throughout the mid-north coast, our message is clear. Within the Manning area, we are continuing with the rescue efforts. Excuse me. We're continuing with the rescue efforts and supporting the communities that are isolated throughout that area. We are aware, and in the last 24 hours, we've had over 284 flood rescues come through. We are aware of specific communities, such as those in Glenthorne, where there's 52 people trapped by the rising floodwaters, and the plans are in place to retrieve those communities. We've also had people that have been stuck on the highway, on the freeway, and around Guinea, where they have been rescued. Our messaging really needs to focus on what is to come. Throughout the Hastings and Maclean and Nambucca catchments, we need the residents of those areas to listen to the warnings. We will be escalating the warnings at the appropriate times in those areas. You can expect that those warnings will increase very soon. We are asking all the residents in that area to please listen to that advice. Move to higher ground, move to evacuation centres if you're requested to, or prepare to isolate. If you are going to isolate, please be prepared with medications, food, water, because isolations may occur for a long period of time. We had over 300 mils of rain at Mount Seaview in the upper catchment for the Hastings. That is unprecedented numbers, and we are seeing very, very high gauge height readings further up that catchment. We will absolutely be seeing flooding throughout the Hastings and Maclean and Nambucca areas, and it is going to be happening soon. We will be pushing those warning products out as soon as possible. We are expecting some severe thunderstorms or intense rainfall at times, and the issue is that will occur tonight. We do not want people to be leaving their homes at night, so make your decision now. What are you going to do? Look at the Hazards Near Me website. It will list where the evacuation centres are. Get to those evacuation centres early. They're safe, they're warm, they're dry. And that's what we want the community to be. If you are safe, warm and dry, we are happy, and we need you to heed those warnings and work that way now. Make your decision now. Thank you. Any questions?
Obviously, Tari, Manning is
Yep.
the big area of concern at this stage, but here directly in the Hunter, what are those areas of most concern for you?
So throughout the Hunter, we are seeing wide-scale isolations, obviously. Unfortunately, being this low on the floodplain, there are the usual areas. We do know towns, Hinton, Woodville, Duckenfield, Millers Forest, we could go on. And those communities are very resilient in the way they approach things. We are working with a lot of those communities in the resupply, and people can access their local SES Facebook page for more information. And we are asking people that if they are short on goods, if they need assistance while they're isolated, that they call 132 500, so they can be included in any plans for resupply or support in the community. With that, we are also reminding people that if you are in a life-threatening situation or have a medical issue, whilst you're isolated that requires medical attention, please dial 000.
Obviously, as you said, those areas, Mills Forest, Hinton, it's not, they're used to this. Is it more, as you said, a resupply situation that the SES is helping them with, or are you having rescues in those areas?
Yeah, we are having a couple of rescues, unfortunately. I actually attended one last night myself in Raymond Terrace on Newer Line Road. Yeah. So I went there and really went there to support the volunteers that were out late at night as someone decided to drive their four-wheel drive through what was a very clearly closed road with a lot of water over the top of it, and they still decided to drive through. Unfortunately, that's what we're seeing, and those rescues will continue. It is draining the resources. You know, we would rather be putting tarps on people's roofs to protect their homes, sandbagging their houses. But when our teams are being called away to do rescues because someone has made a silly decision, it's incredibly frustrating, and we urge the public not to drive through floodwaters.
Is there any way you can make the penalties harsher? Because people don't seem to listen to the message.
Yeah, so as a rescue agency, this is, as a rescue agency, you know, we're just there for the people's safety. We want people to go home at the end of the night safe. When it comes to the fines and things like that, we really depend on public messaging. We want the community to be well informed, and that's our role in this.
But you hate to see a couple of SES volunteers get killed helping somebody on the road.
Yeah.
I'm not,
So.
yeah.
Like that's the last scenario we want to see.
Yeah. Look, instead of fining people, we really want to see people not take the risk. If the risk of dying, which is what these people are facing, if they go out in their car in this kind of water, is not enough, another couple of $100 fine on top of the fines that are already available. People can get fined by the courts up to $1,000, can lose demerit points, can have on-the-spot fines issued for negligent driving if they drive through floodwaters. So really, you know, the penalties are already there. The issue is that people need to think about the bigger picture. It's not just their life that they put at risk, it's anyone else who's in the car, it's those SES volunteers often that are out there trying to rescue them. And so I have no compassion for those people. They are making a choice to go through closed roads, through water that they can see is on the road. There is no excuse for that. So, you know, they will be dealt with in the law, but the reality is, in the meantime, Andrew and his volunteers across the state are having to save them, and it is diverting resources from the SES.
Obviously, as we've heard, this situation is going to be happening for several days to come. Is there a push, though, to get those disaster declarations before this event is finished?
Look, we are obviously in conversation with the Minister for Disaster Recovery, Janelle Saffin. She's a very, you know, solid performer in this area, having lived through it herself in Lismore. I know that those conversations are happening. At the moment, we need councils to focus on getting the help to the SES. I know Maitland, for example, has been helping the SES with filling sandbags. That's probably a higher priority now than getting paperwork in for a disaster recovery declaration. We really want to focus on this response stage right now while we have people who are isolated right now and who need that assistance. That recovery space will come.
Just back to Patterson, we know that area is, parts of that area are
Yes.
isolated. What directly can those residents expect in the coming days? Are things going to ease, or are they going to be stuck for a little while?
Yeah, so unfortunately, what we are expecting from the river systems is to somewhat plateau out at the moment. So they will recede slightly, but with the rainfall predicted a little bit later in the week, at the moment the modelling shows that we will have slight increases again from those initial drops. So we don't think it'll be enough to really allow those isolated communities to move out. It will recede slightly, but then as we move through into early next week, they will start to recede as we would normally expect.
Obviously, as we said, the focus at the moment, Taree, Manning. Further north, you said people in Nambucca and those areas towards Coffs, they need to start thinking about what they're going to do now before what is yet to come.
Absolutely. We are telling the residents of the Hastings, the Maclean, the Nambucca, even further up into the Coffs Coast area, Bellingen, Urunga, they are within the warnings at the current moment. We know that it's going to rain. The rain is moving north, and we know that there is up to 200 mils expected in some of those intense showers and rain. So we are telling those people, act now, make a plan, have a plan for your house, understand what your risk is, and make a decision now. Don't wait. Floods move fast, and so should they.
Obviously, some people aren't listening to those warnings of driving through floodwaters, but all in all, how are people treating SES volunteers? Obviously, they are volunteers. Are volunteers being treated as they should be, or have you had any problems?
We haven't had any real problems. We know that obviously communities such as Taree that have been isolated, and it came up very quickly. There wasn't a lot of warning. We got the warnings out as quick as we could based on what we were seeing, but the soil was so wet, it was unprecedented how quickly the rises have been seen, like what we are seeing in Kempsey and the like. So the community sentiment is good. As Australians, as New South Welshmen, we all band together, and being a regional lad myself, I like to think that the smaller communities really band together to support each other as well. So that's going well. But there is frustrations at points, and everyone acknowledges that. But ultimately, if people understand their risk, they make a decision early, and it's a safe decision, everyone will come out okay.
This is something for you or the Bureau. What are we expecting winds-wise? Obviously, with this amount of rain that we've had, are winds predicted to pick up? Because obviously that's a concern for trees and what have you.
Most definitely, yes. A couple of days ago, winds, whilst at the moment aren't as strong as they have been, there is a potential with the trough turning into a low pressure system, it may whip up the winds again into that damaging range. So we've seen average winds 2 days ago of up to 70 kilometres an hour, which is significant, with gusts of 100 kilometres an hour. So should that eventuate, with sodden soils, with trees already weakened by days of strong winds, it does raise that increased chance of trees falling, branches also falling, and that's a whole other hazard.
When do you expect this severe weather to ease for the Lower Hunter area?
This particular piece of weather is currently situated off Coffs Harbour as a trough. The forecast for Thursday and Friday is for that trough to start to spin into a low pressure system and then move relatively quickly, compared to how slow it's moved north, back south. So we'll start to see increased rainfall again Thursday and Friday, but then it will actually decay, and we should see a drying conditions from the weekend.
And when do you expect the Hunter River at Maitland to peak?
I don't have any details on the Hunter River at Maitland right now.
One more question for you, obviously, we've heard 1,600 volunteers helping. What other assistance are you getting from like ADF and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so currently the ADF assistance that we have in the field is some airframes, so helicopters, and they're working in and around the Taree area. We have more due in this afternoon that are coming in from Queensland. We have rural fire service personnel and helicopters, and they've been pre-positioned in Taree for several days now. We've got fire and rescue with strike teams, as well as IMT support, incident management team support with that to assist the overall operations. Volunteer Rescue Association, Marine Rescue New South Wales, Ambulance New South Wales, and some of their high clearance vehicles are in place. We have thrown everything at this. They were all pre-positioned, and what we're doing now is bringing in more, because this is obviously escalated from what was originally predicted, and we're working with all those agencies to come in and bolster those numbers on the ground, as well as we are expecting this recovery will go for weeks, and we're planning that far out to ensure that we can get the community back to their sense of normality, or even better, as quick as possible.
Is this a learning from like 2021, 2022 when we've had all these big flood events as well? Is this learning from those times that have put you in this position?
Oh, absolutely. Some of the rescue arrangements that came out of Lismore with these high impact, high needs in regards to life-threatening rescue have really come into this, and watching the prioritisation of those rescues is a classic example of some of the implementation of policy that was driven out of Lismore. The availability of some of the infrastructure, so high clearance vehicles, has been a game changer and something that's really working well for the community.
It just seems this time it's like a well-oiled machine this time around, and I just thought that might have had a lot to do with what you've learned in the past.
Can I speak to that, Chair? Sorry. Yeah. Look, I think there has been an improvement in coordination between the services since the 22 events, and that really has been a lot on the data. Even if you look in my agency in transport, the amount of data that we get now and the systems that have been designed to actually get that data collated is incredible. It's gone from whiteboards and butcher's paper to computer systems that can take in 600 data points and actually do modelling using information from the Bureau of Meteorology and all of the other agencies. There's also, I think we've been lucky in this event and in Cyclone Alfred a couple of months ago, in that the events have unfolded slower. I think the key message for people to understand about this event is that we are in a very saturated ground situation. We have got high river heights and we've got very unpredictable rainfall that is always seeming to be at the top of the predictions. I want to really thank the BOM for the work they've been doing in that prediction space. It's very difficult, and I think that goes hand in hand with the issue around public transport and roads and evacuations, and that's why people need to make plans early. It may be that their house, they feel it's safe, but if they have to make a decision to leave, in the meantime, other roads could have been blocked, and that's the situation that people need to make those assessments. Not just thinking about, is the water at my door, but is it down the street or on the highway, and that's going to cut me off. So we still need people to be very clear in their own planning and preparation. But the other thing is, we have to thank our volunteers. It's Wear It Orange Wednesday, which is the day we traditionally thank the SES. It's also a National Volunteer Week this week, and without our volunteers, we would not be able to do this work either. It is a lot of effort and really going above and beyond, and that's why it's really important that people make their plans, they're safe, and they also respect the advice and direction from all our emergency service workers, whether they're volunteers or paid